by firing 3 shots with an R5 to the direction of the deceased. So it's unclear here because both of them are returning shots, but they can't both be returning shots because one of them must be returning shots. Thereafter, the deceased is incapacitated. So it would appear as if both Mr. Mostert and Mr. Naidu were shot at by the deceased.
Chair, according to them, he fired shot at them while he was still inside the vehicle.
And the vehicle was in motion.
The vehicle was, according to them, their vehicle was in motion, but there was no bullet damage on their vehicle itself. So if he was shooting at them, at least, I don't expect him, if the vehicles were that close, I would not expect him to miss the whole vehicle with a bullet.
Yes, if you just
at least
go back
one
to
bullet
the position of the, because both of them are in the BMW.
Both of them were in the BMW. Captain Loken was the driver, Mostert was the passenger at the front, and then Naidu was the passenger at the back seat.
So I'm trying to see that picture of Mr. Nzuza's vehicle surrounded.
I think it's photo number 1.
Photo number 1.
Yeah, and photo number 3 also. Photo 1 and 3 shows the.
Yes, photo 3 is better because it shows the BMW in full.
Yes. And where I've marked A and B, that's where the cartridge cases were recovered.
So how would that happen if he's sitting there and he's shooting? Where would the cartridges be? His own cartridges, Mr. Nzuza's cartridges.
According to them, he was shooting with a revolver. So a revolver does not eject the cartridge cases. So the cartridge cases will remain in the cylinder of that revolver. Yes. But if you look at both of them, Mostert and Naidu, if they are shooting at him, their cartridge cases will fall to the front of the vehicles. It's either on the front of the Honda or the front of their vehicle. In fact, not the front of their vehicle, to the front of the Honda.
Yes. Which is where they are found.
Which is where they are found now.
And then this revolver that they say, just back to your statement at paragraph 8, that he shot at them with this revolver. What happened to it? Because we don't, surely it will be sent for testing and, a lot of things will happen to it.
It was sent for, I think it was sent for testing, but I cannot recall. It was examined by somebody at KZN, yes. Ballistics KZN, but I cannot recall what the report was saying. Yes. But I don't see any damages, or there was no any damages reported on their vehicle to show that he was definitely shooting at them.
Yes, that this is the point. If he was shooting, he would not have missed such a big object.
And it's very close to him also.
Yes. I mean, this idea of shooting while the vehicle is in motion, how is that reconcilable with the bullet wounds that were sustained by the deceased?
It's difficult to explain that for me. Yes. Because if it's moving, it will continue to move. And in that instance, once he's incapacitated, I don't think he will be able to stop the vehicle. Yeah. It will still continue to roll. And you won't find the cartridge cases in front of the vehicle. Cartridge cases will be somewhere backward, where they've already passed.
Yes, no, I'm trying to imagine what they are saying, right? Which is, he is shooting us, but he's driving at the same time. But they shoot him here on the side of the arm.
That's correct.
Yeah, so how does that actually work logically?
To me, it doesn't make sense.
Yes. Are you convinced that they lied?
In this instance, yes, I'm convinced that their statements are not true.
Yes.
Advocate Ngcukaitobi, as a follow-up, what is the most likely result of shooting a driver while the vehicle is in motion? Looking at how these vehicles are stationed, seems like it's parked. I want to know what is the most likely result. I'm driving and somebody or I'm in a shootout, but I get shot while I'm driving, what is the most likely result?
Chair, I would say if you've been shot while the vehicle is in motion and you're shot in that condition, you'll be immediately incapacitated. You won't have any control of the vehicle. The possibility of that vehicle not stopping there is very high because it will be rolling, it will be moving.
Or the vehicle might roll or collide with other
It's
objects
possible.
and
It's possible, Chair.
Is it likely that Mr. Nzuza's vehicle would have been damaged then as the shooting was happening, at least on the right side?
Chair, the only damage that we see on the vehicle is the window that has been smashed, but no other possible bullet damages was noted on that vehicle.
The window was half open, you said,
That's correct, Chair.
and the glass must have been shattered then.
The glass is shattered, yes.
Other than that, no damage.
Other than that, there's no other damage that was noted on the vehicle.
Proceed, Council.
Thank you.
follow-up.
Yes.
Should we assume that the people should we assume that the people in the BMW who were shooting at Mr. Nzuza are such perfect marksmen that they managed to shoot at the vehicle that is moving, but they were so accurate that their shots went through only through the window and not touch any other part of the vehicle body while it is moving. And if the Honda is moving, one would assume that the BMW was also moving.
That is correct, Chair. Both vehicles, if they are alleging that both vehicles would be moving, I wouldn't expect the shooting to be in that position. Because if you look at the wounds he sustained, they will not be possible to shoot accurate as they shot here if the vehicle was moving.
And in this instance, both vehicles are moving.
In that instance,
If
when
we-
both
according
vehicles are
to
moving.
according to their version.
Version of the incident, yes, that's correct, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. You've dealt with this topic of the movement of these vehicles at paragraph 163 of your statement. And then you've also dealt with the expected damage to the police vehicle at paragraph 164. And you've also dealt with the cartridge case distribution, is that correct, at paragraph 165?
That's correct.
Yes. And is it your conclusion, based on expert opinion, that this deceased was executed in cold blood?
It's most likely so. He was executed, Chair.
Yes. And that the statements by Mr. Mostert and Naidu are false fabrications?
Chair, I would say I do not agree with their statement as they mentioned the incident, or they narrated their incidents
Yes.
or their version. But I agree with their version as stated in their statements.
Now, you've dealt with this in your conclusions from para 169 to 175. Now, unless there's something else you want to add, I'm inclined to move to the next incident.
That's correct, Chair. We can move to the next incident.
Yes, that is Beria at paragraph 176.
Sorry, before he moves to another, before you move to another topic,
Yes.
Lieutenant Colonel, would you say Given that we've dealt with a number of ballistic reports that you've given, you've dealt with a number of cases involving Ketomena, would you say you have now observed what has been referred to as modus operandi or a pattern through all these killings?
Chair, that is correct. If you look at all the cases, that I have done, when you look at the modus operandi, it's more or less the same modus operandi in most of the incidents where they're involved. It's either a person the alleged suspect was pointing a gun at them, or the alleged suspect was about to grab a firearm, or the alleged suspect was about to disarm one of the members, and then he was shot by another member.
Thank you.
Thank you. And just on this modus operandi, is it your finding after what you've done that it's the same group of people that are doing these things? They don't change. It's either it's Mostert, it's either it's Lockham, it's either it's Neva, it's either it's Naidu, but it's the same group of people.
Chair, I would say it's the same group of people. In most incidents, it's Warrant Officer Mostert involved, it's Warrant Officer Nell involved, it's Warrant Officer, it's Mostert, it's Nell, it's Sergeant or Constable Naidu, and it's Captain Van Tonner.
Lockham.
Lockham would be the driver, or Lockham would be with them, but it's not. But these are the ones who normally shoot. The ones that I've counted, it's Mostert.
No, I understand. But in the murder scene, there are these players. They are the same. You know, someone else is driving the.
That's correct, Chair. Or they go to a house. Captain Lockham or others will be outside. Mostert, Derek, Nell, Van Tonner, Naidu will be the ones, or in Pariachi will be the ones who go in, and then shots were fired.
Yes, but it's the same group of people.
It's the same group of people, Chair.
Yes, and it's an organized group of people with access to high-level machine guns and access to high-level resources, because they've got vehicles, they've got trackers, they've got machine guns.
That's correct, Chair. They'll be in possession of rifles, pistols, and then they've got vehicles.
Yes. They also have high-level protection. They never get arrested, they never get questioned, they never get taken through a disciplinary process.
I would say in most of their cases, I've never had any case where probably they were arrested for how they behave, or they were under investigation for one of the incidents where they took place in it. I've never heard of any one of those.
Would they qualify, if you don't want to comment, that's okay, because you are a ballistic expert, but would they qualify to be an organized criminal group?
Chair, I wouldn't answer that, Chair.
All right.
Colonel, that's a very fair answer.
Do not get discharged from
Come in here. I'll just come in here. A Colonel, looking at the information that you have to form a view that these people were acting as a group, can you, and emphasis is looking at the material that you have, can you even take it further to see, from my observation as a layperson who's an expert elsewhere but not in the investigation, but I would say from information available that these people were supporting each other on the roles played by others in the commission of the offense, or rather in the incident. Let's call it an incident for now.
Chair, I would agree with that, because
Yeah.
If you look at the statements of the ones who were outside, who were not participating in the shooting, they will write the statement that corroborate what these who were involved in the shooting are saying.
Yes. So they appear to have been supporting one another in the role play.
That's correct, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Ramachakha. My learned friend says that I should ask you about paragraph 166 and 173 of your statement to complete the circle in the killing of Mr. Nzuza. The significance of the fact that although a 9mm was used and its cartridges were found, but also a rifle, an R5 was used, but no cartridges
No
were.
cartridge cases recovered on the scene.
What does that mean?
Chair, in this instance, I wouldn't exclude the possibility of tampering with the crime scene, removing some of the exhibits from the crime scene.
Yes, thank you. Can we then go to Perea? It's 2A1 of your reports. It's the first one of your bundle. Can you narrate what happened here?
Chair, in this incident, the Berea 288 of 5/2008, according to the members, they were looking for this suspect and he was staying in this flat. So they got information that he was at the flat. They went to the flat. It's the 4th floor on the flat. When they got there, when they started knocking and then opened, there was a butler. So according to Warrant Officer Mostard's statement, the suspect saw them and he started shooting at them. Warrant Officer Mostard returned shots with his pistol. And then the suspect, the so-called suspect, ran towards the balcony and to the window, and he jumped from the 4th floor. He landed on the outside on the surface, on this tar road or on the parking area. And while he was there, he pointed the gun at them, and then Warrant Officer Mustard shot at him again while he was there. And the Warrant Officer Naidu were outside, and they also saw him shooting at Warrant Officer Mustard. They also shot at him.
Yes. That's their version.
That's their versions.
Now, and we know the deceased was Mr. Tabo Sunshine Msimang.
I do not know the names of.
No, yes, you've told us that you look at the physical evidence. Yes,
That's correct, Chair.
Yeah, we found his name in the document. And we've tried to give everyone a name, but that's not your job, that's our job. Yes, all right.
Advocate Ngcukaitobi, just out of curiosity, the background stories seem to be the same, if not similar. The cattle men are looking for someone. The minute that someone sees them, they start shooting. And one would ask themselves, why would everyone seem to hate the cattle men so much that whenever they see them, they start shooting at them? Whether they are guilty or innocent, young or old, but whenever Ketomena appears, people start shooting at them and they end up dead. Isn't this a bit... I'm looking for a word that is very, very user-friendly. Maybe I should say, should just say peculiar. Isn't this funny? Isn't this out of the ordinary?
Sure, that's what I was saying, that their modus operandi, if you look at the modus operandi, it's almost the same in most of the cases, where the suspect will start shooting at them, or where the suspect will start grabbing a firearm, or where the suspect will attack one of them, and then they'll shoot back.
Without provocation.
That's how they put their statements.
Yes. Thank you. So, In Mr. Msimango's case, you've dealt with the background, which is at 176, 177. Which you just gave now, that summary, correct?
That's correct, Chair.
Yes. Now, we start then with the medical analysis at 179. And then you can take us to the photos we need to look into to support your analysis there.
Sorry, also before you go,
Yes.
at paragraph 177, at 249, 2/49.
Yes.
The third line. We are told that Inspector Mostert was immediately confronted by the deceased, who allegedly pointed a firearm at him. He discharged 3 rounds from his service. Okay, it's Inspector Mostert. I read it the other way around, and I thought it's the deceased who discharged, but Inspector
Mostert
Mostert
is the one who-
miraculously wasn't hurt. Sorry, thank you.
Yes. And on their version, the deceased actually runs away from them and escapes
then
through
he
the
jumped
window.
through the window.
Yes, and then they still go and execute him. All right. So we are in the medical analysis section from paragraph 179. And I was asking you if you want to take us through the analysis by the pictures, you can do that. Well, actually, perhaps before you do that, I noticed that I had made a note to start at photo 1, which is because this was a peculiar case of somebody jumping from the 4th floor.
Photo 1 will show the flat where he jumped, and then the window that is circled is the window that he jumped from.
So, because there is now Mr. Mostert inside his apartment. According to Mr. Mostert, this man is attacking him, but the same man is jumping over the window. I mean, a jump over the window, isn't that consistent with someone who's fleeing?
That's correct, yeah.
Yes. How is it reconcilable with someone who's attacking the police?
But you're jumping from the 4th floor like that, for him to survive. When landing on the floor and then pointing a gun again at them through the window, at the top floor again, it's unexplainable. That.
Yes, no, I mean, the story is difficult to understand. Let me put it no higher than that. According to them, he tries to attack them inside the apartment, right? And then he jumps out of the apartment. When he gets down, he again tries to shoot. What's the point of jumping and then trying to shoot? Yes. Yes, just to be fair then to Mr. Mostert, his statement is at BR 0073. I think there is an arrangement made that they will be made immediately available to the panel. Oh yes, it's actually put behind you on the screen. So if you can look 1, 2, 3, the fourth paragraph, which starts with at 22 hours. This is what they say they did. At 22 age 40, Captain Eva, Inspector Nell, Constable Naidu, and I, this is Mr. Mostert, entered the building. The other members safeguarded the ground area. We proceeded to the third floor to flat number 32. On our arrival, I noticed a security gate in front of the door. Due to the fact that the suspects could be armed, the security gate was forced open by means of a crowbar. I mean, what does that mean? They forcibly opened somebody's apartment.
That's correct. They broke open the security gate.
But this person is also trying to kill them. And then once this was done,
The door was kicked.
yes, the door was kicked by Inspector Nell. I immediately entered the flat armed with my pistol, a 9mm parabellum with serial number Q014304. As I entered, I was confronted by the suspect, Tabu. He was armed with a pistol, pointing it in my direction. I fired 3 shots in his direction. At this point, he ran towards the enclosed balcony with a window slightly opened. He dived through the window and fell to the ground. So you remember the point that I was making, that this suspect, according to him, is running away from him. And then he says, he dived through the window and fell to the ground. I noticed movement and fired a further shot in his direction when I noticed the members on the floor move in, and I heard more shots being fired. I went down the stairs to where the suspect lay. Inspector Nell and Constable Naidu remained in the flat. On my arrival, I found Captain Eva and the other members by the suspect. At this point, Captain Eva took charge of the scene. I noticed my firearm lying in close proximity to the suspect. It appeared that the suspect was dead. So this is their version of what they claim to have happened. And you've then had to reconstruct this and to see whether this was a pack of lies or not.
Because I'm not sure of the lighting around that area, but if you look at the time of the incident, if you jumped from the 4th floor down, when there was a movement, what type of movement do you see? Are you seeing somebody who's trying to flee or somebody who's pointing a gun at you? Then when you have to shoot again, when the person is lying on the floor.
Well, according to them, he's already run away from him.
And there were other members downstairs who were waiting.
Yes. Now, all right. Sorry, I interrupted you because I was struck by photo 1 because it does illustrate the distance that he would have had to jump to run away from Mr. Mostert. Now, which photographs were you going to take us through?
Sorry, Advocate Ngcukaitobi, before you move, please, let's go to the next sentence. From after that paragraph that you read, which
Yes.
is very weird.
Yes.
And maybe Lieutenant Colonel will assist here, if that is the next step to be taken, because the the last sentence on the paragraph that Advocate Ngcukaitobi was reading says, it appeared that the suspect was dead. Now the next one, that is very weird. The necessary arrangements were made by Captain Eva to have an ambulance summoned to the scene. Is an ambulance summoned to a scene where a suspect is dead?
In all incidents, if a person has been injured or wounded or a person has been killed, the paramedics or the ambulance will come to declare him dead so that they can issue a certificate that he was declared dead on the scene.
That's my ignorance. I thought you call those that deal with those that are no longer in this world.
No, the paramedics will come or the ambulance will come just to declare the person.
This is to perform the medical job of saying indeed he's dead.
That's correct, Chair.
Thank you. Sorry, I wanted to to ask you to take us through the photographs and to do your analysis.
Until quarter to 12.
Still under oath, Chair.
Yes, thank you. Good day, everyone.
Good day, Chair.
Colonel.
Good day,
Good
Chair.
day, Dr. Chowke. Through you, Advocate Ngcukaitobi, Dr. Mkabela, we have just had a meeting with Mr. Tuba. You remember we sent a message this morning that he should come here regarding this application by Advocate Batoi. We asked him to approach you to discuss when you intend to file papers. And he responded, he came back to say you have discussed. Is that correct?
Chair, yes, indeed, I may confirm we have received an approach and we have spoken and we have undertaken to deliver an answer by Wednesday next week. Can't remember the date, what it is, but yes, we have.
He is saying that you have not given him definite date, but you don't want to get involved in this exchange between attorneys. We suggest that you communicate to your counterpart, Molebatsi attorneys, and agree about the time frames when you are going to file your answering affidavit and when they will file the reply.
We will do so, Chair.
We are told that Mr. Newpen, Mr. Harris will come tomorrow. So do have a meeting, discuss the matter, and you can agree and put your agreement in writing
Thank you, Chair. We will do so.
so that we don't get involved in what you could be discussing as attorneys and agreeing on the way forward.
We will do so, Chair. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. Colonel, you are still under oath. Thank you, Advocate Ngcukaitobi. You may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Lieutenant Colonel, I did not put to you the version of the gentlemen that were on the ground when Mr. Msimango landed after being chased off the apartment by Inspector Mostert. You remember that?
I remember that,
Yes.
Chair.
Now, I've got those two. There's one by Mr. Makanya at BR0075. It will be flighted on the screen there behind you. Yes. Now, this is how he describes the incident at the paragraph 2. Says, on the same evening, myself, Captain Eva, I think it's Colonel Naidu, and R.C. Maharaj proceeded to Avondale Road, where we met other members. Further briefing was done. I was guarding the ground floor with Inspector R.C. Maharaj. Whilst on the ground floor, car parking, I heard gunshot. Then I saw black male fallen on the ground. Then with shock state, I fired 2 shots towards suspect. I used my pistol and then gives the number of the pistol. So according to him, there is no mention that the suspect was armed. Can you see that?
I can see that, Chair.
Yes. It is only in paragraph 3 where he talks about a firearm. The person fallen down was Thabo Msimangu. I noticed firearm lying next to suspect. The scene was took over in charge by Captain Eva, you see. But at the time of the shooting, he doesn't mention that he noticed anything about the deceased being armed. That is at the time he falls from the 4th floor. Now, then there is the version of Mr. Maharaj, who also was in the scene at BR 0077. Now, he deals with this incident at paragraph 3 and 4 of his statement. It says, on the same day at about 22:25, we met outside Avondale Spa, where we were briefed once again by Captain Eva concerning the wanted suspect known as Thabo Msimangu, who was in possession of a firearm. At 22:40, we proceeded to Colesberg Flats, 6th Avenue, Morningside. Inspector Makanya and I took positions directly below flat number 32. On foot, whilst the rest of the members proceeded upstairs to their respective flat. After a few minutes, I heard a noise followed by gunshots, and the next moment, noticed a male falling to the ground with a firearm in his hand. I immediately and instinctively fired 2 shots in his direction. So according to Mr. Maharaj, he notices a male falling on the ground with a firearm, and then he shoots. No indication that he was actually in danger. I thereafter cautiously approached the suspect and kicked the firearm away from the ground next to his hands for safety reasons. Captain Eva then took over the entire scene. So this is the version given by the 3 policemen. Now, it's that version then that we put to you for your crime reconstruction to see whether they were lying or not. We were at the medical analysis section from paragraph 179. You remember that?
Yes, I remember that, Chair.
Can you take us through that?
Right, Chair. According to the medical analysis, I'll say, according to the chief post-mortem findings, the deceased sustained multiple wounds to the head, torso, right shoulder, and right arm involving the skull, brain, craniofacial, bones, left maxilla, diaphragm, right kidney, liver, heart, and the right lungs.
Yes.
Shrapnel injuries were also noted in the right flank and the right shoulder, consistent with bullet fragments.
Yes, but if you just stick to 179 for now, what would those injuries be consistent with?
Just some of the wounds would be consistent with falling from the flat, and some would be consistent with gunshot wounds.
Yes.
But if you look at how the wounds were described, where the doctor is talking about the skull, the brain, and craniofacial bones, I would say if a person has sustained injuries to the skull and the brain, this person will not be able to move.
Yes.
So if he fell, falling with a gun, and then the next minute he's shot for being in possession of a firearm, I don't think there will be any movement from him after falling from there. So after falling there, I don't believe there was movement, as stated by Warrant Officer Mostert when he said he fell down and he saw him moving. That's when he started shooting again. I would say it's not possible.
Yes, but you see, remember, he didn't fall according to Inspector Mostert. He jumped. So which means he would actively be seeking to land on the ground safely. I mean, unless you can jump and then fall with your head. But
Chair, if you look at the injury sustained, I think on photo, let me go to that photo.
we were at 5 and 6 in line with paragraph 181 of your statement.
think it will be photo. I think it will be photo 5 where you can see the head. There's injuries to the head, and according to the post-mortem, there's also injuries involving the skull, the brain, and craniofacial bones. If he jumped to land on his leg, there wouldn't be these injuries.
Yes.
So basically, he fell with his head to the ground.
Yes, no, I do want to ask you about that in terms of falling and jumping. What is consistent with what? You know, a person who jumps on the 4th floor, according to most, versus a person who falls. What are the probabilities of how that person left the 4th floor?
Shall say a person who's jumping would most likely land on his legs, and a person who's falling would fall with any part of the body. It all depends on how he fell from the building.
Yes. But the sustaining those head injuries from the impact on the, I think it was the tarmac there.
That's correct, Chair.
Yes.
And Chair, I was looking into the crime scene photos. According to Warrant Officer Monster, he fired 3 shots whilst inside the
apartment.
apartment.
Yes.
Now we have bullet holes or bullet defects inside the room, as depicted on photos.
Photo?
There's photo 11, photo 12, and when you look at photo 13, it's glass. So on that one, on photo 13, I cannot confirm whether it's a bullet damage, because when I look at how it broke, it shows low velocity, low speed, and unstable bullet. If it's a direct shot, the bullet hole will not be in that way. There's a huge difference between a direct shot of a bullet to the glass and what we see there. If it's a bullet, then it was an unstable bullet that went through an object first, and then it hit the wall. Now, if you look at the photo below that, photo 14, on photo 14, here you can see the shape of a 9mm bullet, where it hit the wall on its side. So it was not stable, it was not spinning, but it hit the wall on the side. So why I'm showing the commission that is, if our bullet has already lost energy to hit the wall on its side and to hit the glass, creating that type of a hole, it shows that it has hit an object first. It has lost energy and speed on that object. Now we look at photo number 16 and photo number 17. On photo 16 and 17, we see blood there. So I am of the opinion that he could have been shot, he was bleeding already, and most likely pushed through the window, because by then he was already bleeding. If you look at the bullet that we're talking about, it could have struck him, hit him, and then here he was bleeding. And this is towards the window where he
Well,
fell.
this is the window.
It's towards the window where he fell or he jumped.
Now I'm saying photo 16, is that the window itself?
This is the window before the one that he... I think it's the same window where he alleged that he jumped from.
Photo 16 and 17.
That's correct.
Yeah, so if I take you back to photo 1, at 2A4. So when you're looking at these windows from outside,
right, that is on a balcony next to the window that he allegedly jumped from. That window that we see on photo 1, that is circled.
yes. I'm saying that in this apartment, it appears that there is only one window to the outside.
That is correct, Chair.
Yes. So if they're saying that he jumped from the window, it could have only been this window.
Could have been this window.
Yes. And so when we go back then to the window you are telling us about, which is at photo, did you say 16 and 17?
That's correct, Chair.
Now, why does that appear to be wooden?
I can't recall, but towards the window inside, there was a wooden frame,
Panel.
a wooden panel
Yes.
below the window.
I see. Okay. So what were you showing us as the significance of photo 16 and 17?
Also, it's most likely that while he was still in the apartment, he was already wounded, he was shot. So I'm not sure whether he jumped after or he was pushed.
Yes, I mean, the problem, Mr. Mostert's statement is very cryptic on the facts, whether the window was closed or open. If it was closed, who opened the window to enable the deceased to jump? If the deceased still had time to open the window,
Opened the window.
after having been shot 3 times, why did he not shoot him some more? It raises so many questions.
And Chair, when you look at the photos that follow,
Follow from?
uh, photos 19, 20, 21, 22. There we have bullet marks on the tarmac outside the building where the deceased was lying. So the first one on photo 19 is marked 1, the second one is marked 2, the third one is marked 3, the fourth one is marked 4, the fifth one on photo 23 is marked 5. Now if you look at the fifth one, there's traces of the blue t-shirt that the deceased was wearing, which is on photo 25. There is pointed with a pen on photo 24. Now, what is important here is we'll look at these marks. If you look at mark 1 and mark 3,
Okay, Ngcukaitobi, I have a question, and I'm scared that we're going far, and I'm going to have to take you back a long way. I have a question about the apartment. Lieutenant Colonel, did you physically go to and see the apartment? And maybe if the answer is yes, can you give us an indication of how big is the room where is it Inspector Mostert and the deceased had a confrontation or met?
Chair, I went to the apartment. Just I cannot recall the setup of the apartment. But when I went there to examine it, it was already painted repainted, and then the windows were replaced. So there was no other evidence, valuable evidence that I could find on the scene. So I didn't check a lot of things on the apartment, but it was not that big apartment.
My question is it big enough that Inspector Mostert, or is it big enough for a possibility that Inspector Mostert may fire 3 shots towards the deceased and miss with either the 3 shots or with 1, or yeah, something like that? Give us an idea if you can.
Chair, there I cannot give a clear idea or indication of how far was Warrant Officer Mostert when, where was the deceased by then when he fired the shot. So I cannot elaborate more on that one.
Yes, just to take you to the contents of the docket, because we've got a sketch of this apartment. So maybe that can also enable you to answer the question from Advocate Baloimer. So the sketch itself is at BR 0069. It will be flighted behind you. So given that you've been to the apartment, you can, yes, there it is.
Right, Chair, when you look at the apartment, I think the windows were on this side. And then you enter here from the kitchen, you come here. This is where you found those, because this is the bedroom. So the bullet marks that I was showing were around this area, inside the living room, because the window is around this area, the where he jumped from. So they entered from that side and came to this side. So I don't know where was Mostert when he was shooting and where was the deceased when the shots were fired. I cannot tell exactly where were they.
Yes, well, it will certainly be after the kitchen.
Most likely after the kitchen.
Yes. Yes. And that's a sofa that looks like a sitting room. So it will be anywhere between the kitchen and the sitting room.
That's correct.
But the question is really, what is that distance? You know, is that 20 square meters? Is that 10 square meters? Is it less than 5 square meters?
Chair, I don't know. I can't remember how big was that one.
Yes. Okay. Now, then there are further pictures. Just keep there on that same document. I want to show you a couple of pictures inside the apartment. So, yes, starting at photo 4. Yes. So that's now showing you clearer.
Right, Chair, this will be the bedroom, and then the door coming from the bedroom, and here is when you get to the balcony, and then the windows behind this curtain on the balcony. So that other, underneath the window outside, and then the other bullet, I can't recall exactly where was it, but the one that has blood, it's when you go outside here to the balcony and around next to the window outside.
Well, we know the bullet because if you look at photo 5.
Before you go to photo 5, Council, photo 4 in our bundle, the document, does not correspond with that photo 4 on the screen. Am I right?
It's BR0059, Madam Chair, if that's the one.
The BR.
The BR.
004 BR
So the one we have is BR0059.
0059.
Yes, that's what the witness is looking at.
Because I have this one. I was looking at the pictures in the report.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
And
thank
now, what I tried to do is I realized that there are more pictures in the actual docket than the expert has used in his report. So it's just to take him back to the actual docket.
Yes, thank you very much. I got it.
Thank you. All right. Perhaps you can help us with photo 4 again, because so that I think you went ahead a little bit on that one. So this is the place of the shooting, and you can look at it and tell us if you can estimate the distance from the kitchen, but perhaps not. But you were pointing out to where the bullet fragments were discovered.
That's correct, Chair. This will be the living room, and then this will be the bedroom, the door into the bedroom. Now, this door here is the door into the balcony, and then the window of the balcony is that side outside.
Yes.
So the bullet mark that I was pointing at, it's outside this into the balcony on that side. So if he was shot, it could have been from this point, because I think there was a curtain or there was glass to go out to the balcony. So that other bullet hole was outside into that balcony, just below the window. Then the setup here, I don't know where the first shot was fired at and where was it, because I cannot recall that.
Yes. No, that's where I started referring you to photo 5, because we know the one fragment of the bullet, because it's pointed out. If you compare photo 4 and photo 5, so if you go back to photo 4, you can
If
see
we go
that
to
cone.
photo 4, here's your bullet fragment.
Yes, exactly. And then if you look at photo 5,
Photo 5 is a close-up photo of that bullet fragment.
that tells you where the second bullet that you said you couldn't recall where it was.
Yeah, but the impact point of it, I cannot recall where is it. It could
Yes,
have
yes,
hit
yes.
the wall and then landed up somewhere there, but I cannot recall where did it hit inside.
Yes, I see what you mean. Yes. And then there is photo 6, and that's where we have a clearer picture of that window with the blood stain.
That is correct, Chair.
Just point us to the blood stain.
So this will be the blood stain
Yes.
on the photo.
Yes. And then photo 7 seems to be a different fragment. You remember we're looking for this. How many was it? 2 shots, 3 shots? 3 shots
We
according
fired
to
3 shots. Yeah, this will be the cartridge case.
of another bullet.
That's correct, Chair.
Yes. Now, if you compare that 6 and 7, because we see where the cone is standing on 6 versus where the cone is standing on 7.
And there's another blood stain, except for that one. There's another blood stain.
Yes, no, that's fine. But can you just compare the cones and just confirm that first before we move on 6 and 7?
Can I compare that?
That yellow thing. Yes.
This one?
Yes. Because
This
that's-
is where? Go to photo 7.
Yes.
Yeah, this is cartridge case, which is marked B.
Yes.
Was found there on the.
Thank you. So you wanted to talk about the blood stain.
I wanted to talk about the bullet marks outside on the tarmac.
All right. Well, can we just complete then this exercise? If you look at photo 8,
Yes. And then move to another photo.
to photo 9,
That's the bullet that was recovered. This is the bullet, most likely the bullet that I showed that it ended up. It has hit on the side and it ended up there.
this would be the third bullet.
It's possible, could be the third bullet, yes.
Yes. Thank you. Then we move to photo 10, which is the outside now.
Yes.
I'm not sure which one you wanted to go to when you said you wanted to.
Now here they've marked the position of the cartridge cases which were found outside.
So that's how many?
It's 5 that we see here.
And then photo 11.
It's a cartridge case, a 9mm.
12.
It's another cartridge case marked E.
Yes. 13.
Another cartridge case marked F.
Yes. And then 14.
14, the body of the deceased with the cartridge case next to the body marked G.
Yes.
Right, if you look at this photo, the position of the deceased here, and we look at the T-shirt that he was wearing, which is on photo 25 of the report. Because this is positioned just around the shoulder blade. If you look at how the body was lying on the crime scene and you look at this photo, it's 2 different positions.
Could you just repeat that? I'm not sure I understand.
If we look at the position, of the deceased here, how he's lying,
Yes.
and if you look at the wounds he sustained and the T-shirt, it's 2 different positions. Here he's lying on his front, and according to the T-shirt that he's wearing and the wounds he sustained, the wounds are sustained at the back. So it shows that after falling, he was lying on his back, but not in this position.
Yes. All right, perhaps you should continue.
Right, if we go to the post-mortem photos.
Yes, sorry, I think to clarify that point when you said he was actually shot at the back, if you go to photo 21, I think that might assist. Yes.
Here the position of those wounds.
Yes.
And it's not entrance wounds, it's exit wounds.
Yes.
If we look at photo number 34,
I beg your pardon. If you say they are exit wounds, it means the entry wounds would have been in the front.
that's correct, Chair. If we go to photo number 34,
I beg your pardon, on that picture, meaning that he might have been shot whilst lying there on the surface, in the tarmac, or in the.
that's
road-
correct,
on
Chair.
the road.
That's what I want to explain now.
Oh yes, thank you.
Carry on.
Right. If we go to photo 34 of the report, of my report,
34. That's at 2A21.
yes, if we look at these wounds, these are the type of exit wounds which are said the short exit wounds. So it shows that the body was lying on a hard surface when he was shot at. So basically the body, the arm was lying, resting on the hard surface, on the tarmac, and he was shot. So what happened here is the bullet penetrated the front and they bounced on the tarmac and then back into the wound. They create this type of wounds. That's what we call the short exit wounds. And if you look at how these wounds were, if the photo number 36, you look at photo number 36, we have the wound here, and then you have a bullet that is lodged there. And this bullet was removed. This bullet that is on page on photo number 9. There's your bullet. Now it shows the impact. It impacted on the tarmac and then get back into the wound. So I'd say the wound which were inflicted in this guy, it when he was already lying on the ground and was shot, the bullets were bouncing on the tarmac and then back into the body, creating this type of wounds which you call the short exit wounds. Yes. And when you go to photo number photos I said 26 to 33. Here we are looking at the shape of those bullet marks on the tarmac. If you look at them, they're round. And if they are round, what does it tell you? It's shots that were fired at an angle of around 90 degrees. So your bullet hits down, creating a round shaped mark. So in an angle of around 90 degrees, you'll get this shape of wound. And then if you go to the other ones, you look at these ones, they've got an oval shape. So they show you the angle. It's shots which are landed on an angle. So those ones, it's most likely are the ones that's coming from mustard from up there at the window. And this could be from Maharaj and the other guy who were shooting from the side into the body while he was still lying on the floor or on the ground. Because you look at their shape also. It shows the direction. The shot is from this side, it goes that direction. This one, the shot is from this side, it goes that. And then those round ones, it's direct from up into the ground, creating a round. It's the same as when you take a drop of water, dropping it at 90 degrees. Or even blood at 90 degrees. When you see a blood pattern at 90 degrees, at a round shaped blood stain, it shows that it dropped at the angle of around 90 degrees. And if it's in a shape, in an oval shape, let's say it's in this shape, it shows you the angle. Now, when you determine the angle of this, it's you multiply the width with the depth. It will give you the more or less the angle that it came with. At an angle of 45 degrees, it will drop. And the longer your stain is or your mark is, the lower angle it goes. The more angle increases, the shorter your mark, and your mark will be until it's around 90 degrees. So in this instance, those other shots were fired by R.C. Maharaj when they were down the stairs, and then the other two were shot by Mustard when they were up there. And all those wounds were inflicted while he was already down.
Yes. And you say the impact of him falling would have been debilitating according to the injuries described.
That's correct, Chair.
Yes. And then after that, then they went to execute him.
Exactly. Continue shooting at him while he was already down.
Yes. Now, there are also some bullet wounds on the head. So I just wanted you to clarify that. If you go back to the docket at photo 19 and 21, yes. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe you can help us.
Photo.
Yes, it's just, yeah, so if you can just stick there. What is that going, what's going on there?
Which one? On the head?
Yes.
Chair, on the head, I'm not sure. It could be, because if you look at the size of it, it could be when he fell down to the tarmac.
Okay.
Because this could be the cause of the cracking or the damages on the skull and the brains when he fell, when he landed on the tarmac.
Yes. All right, thank you. And the bullets seem to have shot him on the shoulder. So that would not have been fatal.
No, Chair, the ones on the shoulder would not have been the fatal shots.
Yes. And what killed him? Let me put it that way.
Chair, I'm not sure where was he shot or if he was shot previously by while still inside the flat. There could be other wounds which could have been maybe fatal later, or it could have been when he fell down to the ground. Because when you look at the injury sustained, once the brain is injured or the skull is cracked, those are the fatal wounds that can also cause the death of a person.
Yes. So it could be that he was killed by mustard.
It's possible it could have been shot out there and then pushed, or I cannot rule out that possibility.
Yes, no, that's what I need you to explain to this panel, because I know you wanted to mention it earlier, but then I stopped you because I was still doing the physical location of items in the room. When you said, look, there were bloodstains on the window.
There were bloodstains inside the room.
And what's this thing telling you? And that when he actually impacted on the ground, he fell. It's not like he was jumping. So what does that show you about the body, the state of the body at the time it impacted the ground?
Chair, I would say due to the presence of blood inside the room, there's a possibility that he was injured somewhere already. There was an injury sustained because he cannot bleed if there's no wound. So he was injured somewhere inside the room, and the possibility of him being pushed cannot be ruled out.
Yes. And the only person in the room who could have pushed him, in fact, who shot him first, and then later claimed that he jumped, but you're saying there's a possibility he could have been pushed, is Inspector Mostert.
That's correct, Chair.
Yes. And then outside, there are 5 cartridges. They still shoot him outside.
That's correct, Chair.
And that is Mr. Maharaj and Mr. Makanya.
It could be Mr. Maharaj, Makanya, and even Mostert's cartridge case, because he was shooting from the balcony. Now, if you are shooting from the balcony, normally your pistol eject the cartridge cases around 45 degrees to your right. So if you are shooting from there, the cartridge cases will also fall down to the scene where the body, closer, not exactly close to the body, but around that area where the body was found.
Yes. And then there is also the story of the weapon being found next to the place where his body is recovered, next to the garages there. What do you say about that?
Chair, with the firearm, I don't know.
But I mean,
I don't know how did it get there.
Yes, I know you don't know, but is it consistent with your reconstruction in relation to their version versus what you've reconstructed?
Chair, if they are saying he had a firearm and he fell there, it's possible. But I don't see him falling with a firearm in his hand until it landed where he was.
Yes. But what's the most likely scenario of your reconstruction about how the firearm got there?
We look at the modus operandi of the team.
And what does that tell us?
In most of the incidents where they shot their victims, there's a firearm next to the body. In most of the incidents, the position of the firearm or the presence of the firearms on their crime scenes is questionable.
Yes, I mean, what I don't understand, according to them, by the time he jumps, he has already been shot 3 times, because Mr. Mostert does not say, I missed him.
He said, I shot.
Yes, so he shot him. He hit him 3 times. But, however, on the tarmac, he still poses a threat to 3 other policemen that are armed. Yes. So what is your opinion around this version? I mean, is this a clear instance where the police have lied again?
Chair, that also I cannot rule it out, completely out, because, and the reason why I say I cannot rule it out is I've looked at the instances or incidents where they're involved. You get the same scenario, that the person always point a gun at them and then they shoot, they kill the person. And then the next minute there's a firearm next to the body. So saying that they are lying, they are telling the truth or they are lying. Now I think I'm looking at the modus operandi of how they operate, and it raises questions on why always there's a firearm next to the body. Why always a suspect will point a gun at them, but they're the one who will shoot first and kill the suspect.
Yes, thank you. Now, we've gone through paragraph 179 to 182. You've also taken us through 183 to 187, 188 to 194. Those are the sections where you deal with the injuries on the body, the analysis of the flat, the analysis of the shots themselves, and from paragraph 195, you deal with your conclusions. Is there anything on your conclusions that you haven't dealt with? And by the way, before you move on, we've got, you remember when I asked you about the cause of death, the medical legal report, which is at BR 0022. It actually tells us the cause of death. It's gunshot wound to the head and abdomen, involving the chest and blunt force head and chest injury.
injuries.
What does that tell you?
Chair, it's gunshot wounds to the head and the blunt force when he fell to the, those are the cause of death.
Yes.
So he was shot, he sustained 8 gunshot wounds.
Yes.
So I cannot say whether he sustained them when he was up there, the flat, or when he landed on the tarmac.
Yes. But in so, I mean, we know the only people who killed him, who shot him, were these 4 gentlemen.
That's correct, Chair.
Yes. So,
And they are from K2 also.
yes, thank you very much. I was asking you to say whether there's anything you wish to add on your conclusions from paragraph 195, or whether we can move to the next scene.
We can move to the next scene, Chair.
Before you go there, counsel, on that medical legal report at BR 0022, so the cause of death would have been both the gunshot wounds and the blunt force head injury caused by the blunt
force
head
would be when he fell from the flat.
when he fell from the flat.
That's correct, Chair.
And on that point, your assessment is that he could well have been pushed.
Most likely, Chair.
Well, most likely, yes. Okay. So whether one is looking at gunshot or the blunt force, the source of that death is still Cato Manu.
That's correct, Chair.
Yes. You know the story of Ahmed Timol, the policeman under apartheid pushed him off John Foster
John
Square,
Foster Square.
and then they said he jumped.
That's correct, they said.
So can we move on to Kwatuguza?
Yes, Chair, we can move to Kwadukuza. Staying.
Yes. Could you just give us an analysis of what happened here? So the Stanger is, yes, thank you. So the Stanger report is at 2A154, if you want to use that to refresh your memory. So CAS 390908 is Lindelane Buthelezi.
So on the Kwadukuza, case 39 of 9/2008, information was that they were looking for Lindelane. They got information of the address where he was. They went there. When they started knocking, they saw him inside the house, and then when Mostard saw him, he tried to run to, I think he tried to run, and then I'm not sure if I'm confusing it with the other one, where he grabbed the firearm, and then in the process, he was shot by Mostard again.
Yes. Thank you. We will deal with their version shortly. Can we do the ballistics assessment? So that you've dealt with from paragraph 197, 198, and then in 198, you deal with the material that you considered.
Right, on 198, I examined the contents of the docket and associated forensic material for the purpose of conducting a forensic ballistic reconstruction of the shooting incident. The material examined by me, including, amongst others, the post-mortem report compiled by Dr. Agduk with reference number 322/2008, compiled by Dr. Martinez Albertus Deisel on the 9th of September 2008 at Kwadukuza. The crime scene photo album with reference Devon LCRC 167/09/2008, compiled by Sergeant Van Patad. The crime scene photos on the disc and the statement of Inspector Paul Mostert, and the statement by Detective Constable Naidu.
Yes, now it's 199 that you were dealing with, and I said we will come back to it. So can you look into that and tell us if you, and you were afraid that you don't want to confuse it with another scene?
199. According to the statement of the police, on the 3rd of September, they arrived at the residence in Stenger. Upon reaching the door, they saw a shirtless male suspect in blue jeans flee from an adjacent room. Inspector Mostert and Constable Naidu pursued him, and they saw the suspect retrieving a pistol from a black suitcase and attempted to aim it at them. In response to the immediate threat, Inspector Mostert discharged his firearm, wounding the suspect and causing him to drop the weapon.
Yes. Do you now remember it?
Yes, it's the one that I was referring to now.
Yes. All right. Thank you. And then you start with the gunshot wounds from paragraph 200.
Yes, now, in terms of the report, there was a gunshot wound entering the left cheek at wound marked 1 and exiting on the right side of the head at wound marked 2.
All right. Well, just make sure you go with us. You've referred to photograph 4 and 5 of the report.
Photograph
4 and 5.
4 and 5.
Yes.
That's correct, Chair.
What are we looking at there?
On photograph 4, we have a gunshot wound entering the left cheek, which is marked as wound 1, and exiting on the right side of the head, which is on photo 5, which is marked 2 there on photo 5. We have a grazing wound at the back of the head, which is marked 3, as depicted on photo number 6.
Sorry, before you continue with these pictures, with these photos, let's go back to paragraph 199 of your statement. Unless the summary is not correct or is not adequate, because you say in response, okay, they saw him retrieve a pistol from a black suitcase and attempt to aim it at them. In response to the immediate threat, Inspector Mostert discharged his firearm, wounding, and I'm emphasizing wounding, the suspect and causing him to drop the weapon. Now, common sense would say the person is wounded and he has dropped the weapon. Then the threat is no longer there.
Neutralized.
Although this paragraph does not tell us where he was shot and wounded to cause him to drop the weapon. But now the first photo that you show us is not a picture of someone who was wounded to drop the weapon. You show us a picture of someone who was murdered or who was killed. Help me to understand and reconcile the two, the wounding and what you are showing us at photo 4.
Chair, what we're showing on photo 4 is the position of the wounds. Here I'm starting with the wounds that the deceased has sustained, and I'll go according to steps 1, which wounds were inflicted. Because I cannot tell the exact sequence, but as we go on, I'll explain what I see on this, and probably it will make sense once we know how he was wounded.
Yes, all right. Lieutenant Colonel, I don't want to disrupt your flow, but we will find the statement of Inspector Mostert at page KD 0012. Yes, there it is. Now, according to him, so they had an informer who shows them the house of Mr. Lindelana Buthelezi. And then they go into this house. And then at paragraph 3, he describes what happens inside this house. It says on 2008/09/3 at, this should be 12 midnight, 00.00, the members and I arrived at the house. The door was kicked in. I entered the room, followed by the above members. I noticed a black male dressed in a jean ran to a adjacent room. I immediately followed, and entering the room, I noticed the black male had removed a pistol from a black carry canvas bag. He was in the process to point it towards me. I, without hesitation, fired several shots in his direction, hitting him in the upper body. He fell to the floor and appeared to be dead. Captain Eva entered the room and took charge of the scene, securing the firearm, a pistol. He summoned the necessary role players, the ambulances, SAP members, duty officers, ICD, as well as members of the LCRC. Just out of interest, why is Captain Eva always coming in to secure the scene?
And Chair, if we'll go back to Captain Eva's statement, let's read Captain Eva's, where he's speaking of Captain Eva.
You mean the Inspector Mostert?
Yes, he said Captain Eva entered the room and took charge of the scene, and he secured the firearm. He secured the pistol, the firearm, a pistol.
Yes.
When he said he secured the firearm, the pistol, I don't know what does he mean there, because if you look at photo number, if we look at, I think it's from my report, it's photo number 5. I'm not sure if we have the photos of the scene, but on my report, it's photo number 5. If he said he secured the firearm and removed the firearm, but you look at the body of the deceased, where he's lying, here's the firearm. So if he said he secured the firearm, but the firearm is still underneath the body, it's contradicting what he's saying there.
Yes. And then the second statement from Ruben Renaido, who's the other policeman that was on the scene, is KD 0018. Yes, that one. This is how he describes the incident. Paragraph 3. On the same day, I departed with other members from my office to Stenga. The suspect's dwelling was pointed out to us by the informer. On Wednesday, 3 September 2008 at 0001, I approached the dwelling. Captain Ubach, Inspector Mostert, and Inspector Makanya accompanied me. The door was kicked in and Inspector Mostert and I entered. The other 2 members followed. As I entered the dwelling, I saw a black male run out of a room and went into an adjacent room. The black male had no shirt on and was wearing a blue jean. Inspector Mostert and I followed the male to the room. As we entered the room, I noticed the black male reach into a black suitcase and removed a pistol from it and was in the process of pointing towards us. Inspector Mostert fired several shots in the direction of the male. The suspect was wounded and fell to the floor. The pistol fell to the floor. Captain Eva entered the dwelling and took control of the scene. So that's how they describe the incident. One does not say he had no clothes on the upper body, the other says he did, but basically it comes down to the same thing. He came in and then he ran back And then he found a suitcase. He took a gun. He was about to point it, and then Inspector Mostert shot him. Yes.
Oh, thank you, Advocate Ngcukaitobi, because it answers the questions that I had on paragraph 199, because now it is clear that Inspector Mostert fired a number of shots.
Yes.
And according to his observation, the victim fell and it looked like he was dead.
Yes.
So he literally killed him on the scene, not wound and make him drop the weapon, because that would, in one's mind, it would say maybe they shot him in the arm and he dropped the weapon, but he was literally killed because Mostert fired several shots.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So, where were you, Lieutenant Colonel? Paragraph 200. Yes.
Paragraph 200, we have a grazing wound at the back of the head, which is marked 3, as depicted on photo 6. And a separate wound also at the back of the head, where a damaged bullet was recovered, which is marked wound 4. As depicted on photo 6 also. The deceased sustained the following gunshot wounds to the body. 3 separate entry wounds, wounds 1 and 2 and 3 on the body, as depicted on photo number 3.
Yes, I mean, perhaps you will deal with this when you do your summary. But one thing to note between photo 3 and photo 4 is that on Inspector Mostert's version, several shots were fired in the upper body of the deceased, and he appeared dead. But he is then shot in the head at photo 4.
And then on 201.2, 3 corresponding exit wounds marked 4, 5, and 6, as depicted on photo 7. Yes, 4, 5, and 6. On observation of the deceased, the deceased was shot while in 2 different positions. Wounds 2 and 3 depicted in paragraph 3 were sustained while the deceased was in a standing position. Now, if you look at wound 2 and 3, wound 2 and 3, it's visible on photo 3. And it is most likely the wound 2 presented in the entry wounds of the first shot. The wound depicted on 6 the first shot and the wound 6, as depicted on photo 7, is corresponding exit wound. Right, wound 2 and wound 6 would be the first shot.
So
wound 2
and
as
6.
depicted, yes.
So 2 is the entry and 6 is the
6
exit.
is the exit.
Okay.
Wound 2 as depicted on photo 3 is further visible on photos 11, demonstrate the trace of partially bent and unbent propellant powder particles. Now, if you look at wound 2, I think it's clearer on this photo.
Is this now what part of the body is that?
It's the wound on the chest.
It's the
wound
chest.
2.
Okay.
If we look at this wound, here you can see the powder particles. Here you can see it's not that dark, but there's blackening that indicate. It's blackening that indicates it's a close range shot. This, so the firearm was not far from the deceased in this instance.
And what is that? A 9mm or a?
It's a 9mm pistol. And with wound 1, it's 2 different wounds which were marked as 1.
Are those the one at photo 10?
Or this one also. If we can look at wound 1, these particles that you see, this is unbent propellant powder particles. So it's also a close range shot.
So is that the left side?
That's correct, here on the left side. So basically the 3 wounds that he sustained are close range shots. And wound 3.
So, sorry, Colonel, the wound at picture photo 11, is it an entry wound?
That's correct, it's an entry wound.
It exits where? At photo 7?
It exits at photo 7, it exits on wound number 6.
Number 6 is the head. Is it
No,
not
no,
7?
number 6 is on the right hand side, towards the hip. It's visible on photo number.
I'm confusing the pictures here.
Wound number 6 is this one,
Oh, from the other
on photo 7.
council, I have different documents here. When you refer to the report, refer us to the report, because I'm looking at 2A.
I think it should be at 2A160.
2A160.
60.
160.
2A162.
You should
Photo
be at
11.
2A160.
60.
Yes, for photo 7.
Yes, that is the exit.
Correct. Yes, you are right, Madam Chair, actually. Photo 11 is the entry wound, yes, which is at 2A162.
Yes.
Yes, that's correct, actually. And then 2A160 is the exit at item 6.
Are we correct, Colonel?
That's correct, Chair.
Yes, thank you.
Well, on that point, Colonel, can you just explain this concept? This bullet enters here, right in the chest, but it exits here. Yes. Now, how does that happen? Because you would expect from a layperson that if you are standing, according to Mostert, you are standing in front of him, and you shoot him, the bullet will go out here.
Chair, it will depend on how you hold in the firearm.
Yes.
He shot him, didn't shoot him straight, but it's a downward trajectory. It's in here, it exits here towards the back.
Okay.
It exited at the back.
Yes. So you would have been holding the firearm like this.
That's correct, Chair.
But what would be the point of holding a firearm like this if you're trying to shoot someone in the chest?
Chair, I can't tell what was he thinking when he was shooting in that position.
But does that not signify that this person was either lying down or towards a lower ground? Because he's not pointing it directly to the chest?
Chair, that's why I'm saying I cannot tell what was he thinking when he inflicted these wounds. Because in some of the wounds, the deceased was already down when he was shot at.
I mean, that's the point, is you are saying that the reason why the entry is here, but the exit is here, is because of the positioning of the firearm, which means the firearm was pointing down or slightly down.
It's slightly down.
Yes,
It's in here and then it comes out at the back.
yes. I mean, it does raise the question as to what was the exact position of the shooter and the deceased.
But when you look at the wound, there's traces of unbent and partially bent propellant power. It's at close range. So the firearm could have been probably around this range when the shot was fired, or less than a meter. Let me say less than a meter when the wound was inflicted.
No, that's true, that's the distance, but the position could be that he was higher than on a higher level than the deceased.
It could be at the angle that the firearm was. It could have been on the same angle, but the angle, how the firearm was held, could have been facing a little bit downward.
Yes.
But certainly the deceased was not standing up, must have been lying down.
Chair, with this one, the wound at the back is not what you call the short exit wound. It's just a normal exit wound, so I cannot tell whether he was already down. But if we look at wound number 4, this one, yeah, it shows short. It shows short exit wound. So meaning when this wound was inflicted, by then he was already down. He was shot while lying on the floor.
Yes, because the first wound would have been the one that were inflicted. The first wound would have been the one inflicted on the head.
Chair, if the first wound would be the one inflicted on the head, he would drop immediately.
Yes.
I don't think it would be the first one. This would be most likely the first one, and then this one's. And when he was down, that's when the one the headshot could have been inflicted, and the one that came out, that wound number 4.
Wound number 4. So wound number 4 at photo 7.
Yes, that's wound number 4. This is what we call the short exit wound. So it shows that he was lying on the floor when this wound was inflicted.
Is that an entry wound?
That's an exit wound.
Exit wound. Okay, so which means he would have been shot in his chest
While he was lying, yes.
while lying down, and then it would have exited.
And which wound would have caused him to drop down?
Chair, the wound that would have dropped him down, it's that he was shot. Probably he went down because he was already wounded. But while he was down, they could have finished him with the one on the wound number 1. That's on the left, and it exited at the back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Perhaps you can go to paragraph 9 of your report, which is at 2A 163.
Right, I'll go to paragraph 8. I'll go to paragraph 8 and 9.
Okay.
2A 163. The wounds sustained by the deceased, as described by the doctor on the post-mortem report, are consistent with the position of the wound visible on photos. The wound marked 2 on photo 11, wound on the chest of the deceased, appears to have the trace of partially bent and bent propellant paraparticles. This gives the impression that the firearm was held at close range or was held close to the chest of the deceased during discharging. The wound on the left side of the body, wound 3, is visible on photos, but its position can be seen only on photo 3. The area around this wound is not visible on the other. It's not visible, and no comment can be made on this distance of this firearm. On observation of the post-mortem and crime scene photos, I could reach the following possible conclusions. The deceased sustained gunshot wound while in 2 different positions. The first position, the standing up right position. The 2 bullet entries wound marked 2 and 3 sustained by the deceased were inflicted while standing. The deceased was in an upright standing position. I'm of the opinion that the wound 2 is the entry wound and most probably the first shot, and wound marked 6 at the right back is the exit wound of the same wound. Wound marked 3 is the entry wound and the second shot, and wound 5 on the right back is the exit wound of this, is the exit wound and most probably the second shot. Both bullet trajectories are from front to back and in a downward direction. Both bullets had ricochet on the wall and are most probably the 2 bullets found on the scene, which is marked B and G. So there we have the bullet marks on the wall for most likely the 2 shots.
Is that photo 12?
On photo 12. After the deceased was shot standing, he fell down, and as he was lying on the floor, the other wounds were inflicted whilst lying on the floor. The 2 wounds marked 1 on the right chest had characteristics of a bullet entry wound. The wound at the back of the body had characteristics of exit wound. The exit wound close to the spine had characteristics of a short gunshot exit wound. Short gunshot wounds of exit is produced when the outstretched skin impaled or sandwiched and crushed between the outgoing bullet and the underlying object over the exit side, thus leaving an abrasion color on the wound margin. The degree of shoring of abrasion increases directly with the kinetic energy of the projectile and the rigidity of the shoring material. The second exit wound towards the right hand also had characteristics of a short gunshot wound of exit. With this wound, there was no hard contact to the body on the floor and the area of the wound, but the bullet could exit and travel further. The wound sustained at the back of the head, marked 3, described by the doctor as during the post-mortem as an irregular linear wound on the scalp, can also be described as a grazing wound. The grazing wound occurs when the bullet scrapes or grazes over the skin without penetrating more deeply. This type of wound is usually elongated or in an oval appearance and may have marginal tears at the edges. The wound at the back of the head, where a highly deformed bullet was recovered and did not enter the skull cavity, gives the impression of the bullet that has lost most of its energy and speed before hitting the head of the deceased, where it was removed. Therefore, I'm of the opinion that the wounds marked, or the wound mentioned in 9.124, 91.25 and 91.26 were caused by the same bullet, but penetrated the chest and exited at the back and the deceased was lying, it ricocheted on the floor and deviated towards the head, where it created a graze wound before it hit the deceased, where it was removed. This bullet has lost most of its speed and energy, and it perforated the body of the deceased. And when it ricocheted on the floor, that's the reason why it could not penetrate the skull cavity, and when it was deformed. I am of the opinion that the tiles under the body of where the I'm of the opinion the tile under the body where had bullet damages would have bullet damages. The wound on the left chin, marked 1, being the entrance wound, and the wound marked 2 on the right side of the head, being the exit wound of the same bullet. The bullet trajectory is from left to right in upward direction. I am of the opinion that the deceased was in a lying position when this wound was inflicted. The position of the firearm under the head of the deceased is questionable. It is positioned almost on the area where the wound at the back of the head is positioned.
That's photo 5, you said.
That's where I show the position of the firearm underneath the wound.
Is that that photo you were talking about?
That is correct.
Yes.
So if you look at the other wounds, where there's 2 wounds where he was shot while already on the floor or while lying on the ground. One is in and it came out here at the back. When it came out, it deflected. It created the grazing wound and penetrated. It was recovered here at the back of the head. And then this one, it enters here, it exited on the side. These wounds, the 3 of these wounds were most likely, or let me say, were inflicted while he was already on the ground, because those wounds are what we call the short exit wounds.
Yes. And how do you account for the weapon that they claim to have discovered, which is photo 5? Well, according to Mostert, Inspector Mostert, he saw the deceased pull a firearm. Even Warrant Officer Naidu makes the same claim that the deceased went into the room, he took a bag, and then he took a firearm, and as he was about to shoot, Inspector Mostert shot him 3 times.
Chair, by then, if you look at the wound sustained on the chest, it's a close range shot. So he was less than a meter within when these wounds were inflicted. If he pulled out the gun, I don't think it would be able for him to pull out the gun while the person is standing in front of him. Because here we're looking at the muzzle of the firearm. We're not looking at the distance between the two, the suspect or Warrant Officer Mostert and the so-called suspect. We are looking at the distance between the muzzle of the firearm. So possibility of a range of less than a meter between the 2 of them, it's there when the shot was fired. So it could have grabbed the firearm, it could have grabbed the hand that was holding the firearm.
But according to them, this is the whole point. There is no possibility of grabbing, because on their version, the suspect is in the house. He then goes into the bedroom. There he takes a bag.
And he took out the firearm.
And then he takes a firearm. So that's when they shoot in retaliation. So the possibility, which is what you have constructed, reconstructed, is that actually these people are close to each other.
That's correct, Chair. They were close to each other.
Yes. And you can see at photo 2 and photo 3, photo 2 is much better, actually.
There is no enough space in that room.
Now, the substance of their version, I've put that to you twice, which is the man goes and he grabs. Is it a false account in your expert opinion?
Chair, it goes back to the modus operandi.
Yes.
That's how they operate.
Yes.
And I disagree with their version of the incident here also.
Yes. 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 Is there anything to be made of the items that are next to the deceased? Because is that presumably the suitcase that they said the firearm was in? I don't understand. There are 2 empty bottles of Coke and Sprite. Then there is an open suitcase with some clothes next to it.
I cannot comment much on those things, but what I can see is the position of the cartridge cases. Those other items, I don't know how did they came there and what was inside, and I don't even have the description of the suitcase that we are talking about. So I cannot say it's definitely the one that they allege that he took out the firearm.
Yes. But when you look at the cartridges, which is really where your expertise lies, what do you say?
Their positions.
Yes.
Yeah, with the position of the cartridge cases mostly on the crime scene, you have to be cautious when describing the scene with the position, because the position of the cartridge cases could be that somebody when was moving there, he kicked them or he moved them to a different position. So to give much more information on those can be misleading sometimes.
Yes. All right. Thank you. All right. But your point is that this idea that he ran into the bedroom, took a firearm, and then it is unlikely because of the proximity.
It's unlikely because of the proximity, Chair.
Yes. Thank you. And then we've covered in your statement quite a lot of ground. We've done the analysis of the wounds. We've also done the different body positions, the first position, which was standing upright, second position, lying on the floor. We've now also looked at the probability of this version by the police being true, and you've said in your expert opinion it's not. And then we've also looked at the firearm and the head wound, which takes us to paragraph 213. And what's remaining is your conclusions, which are set out here. You can tell us if you have anything to add.
Chair, I think that's all that I can say on this matter.
Yes. Did you ever find out why Inspector Mostert is the regular executioner? He's always the one carrying a shotgun, a pistol, and then shooting them.
Chair, it's difficult to can say that, but at one stage when we were that side, you know, when we were consulting with a number of people, interviewing people about this, at one stage we once had information that between the three, Warrant Officer Mostert, Captain Van Tonner, and Eric Nel, there was a competition of how many people can you shoot.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I'm ready to move to the next scene, but I say it's 13:39. I don't want to taste the patience of the panel.
Yes, I think it is an appropriate moment to take a break. It's 20 to 2. We will reconvene at 20 to 3. Colonel, you are under oath?
That's correct, Chair. I'm still under oath.
Yes. We will adjourn until 20 to 3.
Thank you, Madam Chair.